Eye Contact, a Mark Manny Mystery, Book 2. Author, Michael Kraft. Publisher, Open Road Integrated Media, New York. Narrator, Eric Ost. A clock radio clicks on, blaring the final cadence of the Beethoven. Good morning, friends. The radio's volume has been set far too high. An announcer shouts from the bedside table. It's 7 o'clock in Chicago. Sorry to report we're in for another hot day, but cooler weather is due before the opening of this weekend's festivities. Beneath a heap of disheveled bedding, Victor Uttley groans. The sheets thrash. A leg appears. Then a lanky arm. Fingers grope for the radio. They find the dial. Already 89 degrees at O'Hare! Wrong way. The fingers race to counterspin the dial. Humidity's a sticky 96%. Utley's head peers out from under a pillow, surveying the room, squinting at the window, confirming that Tuesday has dawned. He tosses back the covers, sits up in bed, swings his feet to the floor, plants his elbows on his knees, winces at the contact with his rollerblading injury, and holds his head in his hands. His willowy, naked body is hairless and smooth, devoid of muscled tone. In an ashtray on the nightstand rests his silver cigarette holder. He stands, picks up the holder, loads it with one of the long-imported cigarettes he bought yesterday, lights it and inhales his first drag of the morning. With his free hand splayed on his hip, the other poised before his mouth, he savors the tobacco that has kept him so lean. That, and the fact that his dead-end career as an actor has until recently necessitated the lifestyle of a starving artist. That's all changed, though. Since the mayoral appointment, he's now a cultural liaison, whatever that is, and he's begun to enjoy some of the rewards of patronage. His pale body has even begun to sprout the curve of a belly, as though he may one day, months later, give birth to a volleyball. Victor Uttley smiles. Blue smoke whirls from the cracks of his crude teeth. He limps from the bedroom into the living room, headed for the kitchen. He's lived in his new apartment for only a few weeks, owing to his new position. It was time to move up, so he took the cue, literally, and signed a lease on these high-rise quarters. It's a decent address, and he's on the top floor, but the view isn't much, dominated by another building across the street. The decorating is still sparse, and what old furniture he has is strictly thrift shop. Leaning against a wall not yet hung are framed mementos, playbills, clippings, reviews of his few acting triumphs. There's a consensus that he's able and talented enough on stage, but his height works against him. He was jilted a dozen years ago by a high school sweetheart for the same reason. Her head barely reached his shoulders. In the kitchen, he fusses with a new machine, unboxed only yesterday, determined to enjoy a cup of real cappuccino. But he hasn't read the instructions, badly translated from Italian into 10 other languages, including Japanese, and the gizmo won't froth. Utley is growing frustrated and a tad fearful that the damn thing might explode. The hell with it. He slams the cast metal filter full of grounds into the sink, flicks his ashes into the drain, and draws a pot of water for his trusty Mr. Coffee. While it brews, he traipses to the front door and cracks it open. Yes, the newspapers have arrived. He looks into the hall in both directions, opens the door wider, squats, and reaches over the threshold, wagging his butt. Got him! He shuts the door. He places both papers, the Journal and its competitor, the tabloid Post, squarely side by side. On the kitchen table, the front pages are predictable. Hot weather photos, kids opening hydrants, flesh on the beach, festival planning, Christian fundamentalists cooking up another protest. Utley farts. He's not interested in news. He's looking for ads. He reaches ready to rifle for them, but stops. This is important. A moment to relish. He's being too hasty. He ought to at least put something on. He hobbles into the bedroom and flounces back, wearing a luxurious dressing gown. Not a plain old bathrobe, but a full-length dressing gown, with wide quilted lapels. It's framed here and there, stained as well, but it's gorgeous. It's him. Utley turns the first page of the Journal, then the next, and the next. He keeps flipping pages till he sees it. The latest in his series of full-color tributes to Chicago's hero of the hour. He leans close to scrutinize the tiny line of type at the bottom of the ad, making sure everything is spelled right. With a satisfied smile, he sets the Journal aside and sets to work on the post. It doesn't take him long to find the second Zarnick ad. God, they're good. These will be framed, he decides. They will join the other scraps of newsprint on his wall of fame. It's all too exciting. Uttley is wired, and he hasn't even had his coffee yet. He grabs the phone, a vintage baby blue Princess with lighted rotary dial. He checks the time. There's a Kit Kat clock, a rhinestone-studded basic black, swiping its tail against the kitchen wall, barely 7:15. Too early. He looks up a number, dials, and waits while the other phone rings. Twice, 3 times. Actors, he mutters. An answering machine clicks on, and Victor hangs up. He has another idea. Picking through a pile of office work he dumped on the counter last night, he plucks a message slip, returns to the table, snaps up the Princess, and dials. The other phone rings once. Someone answers. City room. I was phoning Mark Manning. Uttley has no idea whether the reporter would be at his desk so early. Journalists keep odd hours, but he thought he'd give it a shot. He hasn't arrived yet. Is there someone else who can help you, or would you like to have his voicemail? A voicemail, please. There's a click, then Manning's recorded message, then the beep. Uttley says into the phone, Good morning, Mr. Manning. Mark, this is Victor Uttley with the mayor's office, returning your call. First off, a big thank you to you and Neil for Saturday's party. It was fabulous, and the dicks are to die. Second, I stopped by to see you yesterday because we really need to talk relating to Zarnick. It seems we're doomed to play phone tag. What else, alas, can I say, except of course you're it. Ta-now. Gay Mysteries audiobooks. I think it is easy to hate a label, but a face humanizes the word. So this effort is twofold. To offer comfort to those like myself that your world didn't end because you don't fit into the view of acceptable society on both sides. And in hopes of helping those with family that are LGBTQ, that it doesn't mean we are aliens from the child they once knew. Reassure them so they can maybe be supportive at the same time, being true to their values.